my name is Liana. Welcome to my channel. This is my first ever video. I'm very nervous, but I'm gonna try to get through it. So for my first video, I decided that I wanted to do a story time. So as the title says, my phone got stolen by a possible homeless man. I say possible because I'm not 100% sure he was homeless, but once you hear the story, you'll kind of get the same assumption that I did. So I actually have two stories today. One is when I thought my phone was stolen. The second one was by the possible homeless man. If you just want to hear that one, I understand. That's why you click on this video. So I'll put on the screen where you can click to, but if you want to stay, I'll tell you about the time that I thought my phone was stolen, literally like 3 weeks prior to when it was actually stolen. So as you can see, I'm not the most responsible person, but I'll just jump right into this story. So this first story happened, I was at the bar with my cousins, and just to give you some context, I wasn't that tipsy. Like, I'm a lightweight. I think I had like a drink and a half, but I wasn't even that bad. Like, I was coherent enough. So we get out the bar and we're hungry. You know, when you're drunk, half of us were drunk. I wasn't drunk, but when you're drunk, you want to eat. So we were looking for food. So one of my cousins, he recently got a new car. So we were outside trying to figure out what was open, what we wanted to eat. I looked at his car. I wanted to go in his car. So I got in his car and I like drove around the parking lot. So after I like drove around in his car for a little bit, we came back. We're in the grass, just like sitting outside our cars. And I'm looking for my phone. I'm like, where's my phone? So the bar is cleared out by now. So me and my cousin, we went to the bar and we were like looking around where we were sitting at, and I didn't see it. And I asked the workers if someone turned in a phone, and they said no, and that they would try to look for it as they cleaned. And then he was like, Liana, it might be in the car, like you were just in my car, so maybe you dropped it. So we went back in the car. Now I looked in the car, okay? Keep that in mind. I looked in the car. Maybe not well, but I looked. Okay, so it wasn't in the car from what I saw. He didn't look, but I looked. So I didn't see it in the car. So I'm freaking out. I'm thinking maybe I dropped it, and it was raining prior, so the grass was wet. So I'm like, what if it's dead? Nobody can even call it to like, so we can track it. And plus, I never had my phone on my ringer, so we wouldn't have heard it anyway. So I'm grabbing my cousin's phone, my other cousin's phone, with the flashlight and trying to look through my phone, see if I dropped it in the grass. And then my other cousin, he said, oh, Liana, do find my iPhone, like log into your Apple ID on my phone. And I don't know my password. All my passwords are in my phone. So that's kind of stupid, but I recently wrote down all my passwords, which will be vital into the next story. So at the time, I did not write any of my passwords down, so I didn't know my Apple ID. So I'm trying to figure out where my Apple ID, like trying to figure out my password and stuff, and like I'm freaking out. It's like, oh my gosh, my mom's gonna kill me. Like, I mean, I'm fortunate enough where my mom would get me a new phone, or I can get myself a new phone, but I just didn't want to go through the hassle. Like, anyways, so I'm like sad and blah blah, and then he said, Liana's fine, we'll get you a new phone, da da da. So I'm trying to figure out my Apple ID. I can't find it, can't figure it out. So they're like, let's just go to the place, like the food place, and once we sit down and we're not like sitting in the dark, you could try to figure out your password. So I'm driving my cousin. So like I said, there's 6 of us. So I'm driving my girl cousin. Her name is Anja. So I'm driving her. She's a little bit more tipsy than me. So I'm in the car and I'm just like sitting here so sad and like I'm crying, and she's like, she's drunk. Like she's gone. So she's like, Liana, it's okay, you know, we're gonna get you a new phone and da da da. It's okay, we're family. That's what family's for, and we love you. We're gonna get you a new phone. We go to Apple tomorrow. I'm like, I have to go to work tomorrow. She's like, okay, I'll do it for you. And she was like so like drunk and like passionate about getting me a new phone. So I'm still distraught. I'm so sad. But anyways, we're at the red light, and IHOP is like, we went to IHOP, by the way. IHOP is like down the street. So we're sitting at the red light. All of a sudden, my Bluetooth connects, and she looks at me like music started playing. So she looked at me and she was like, is this phone in your car? And I was like, no, I had it in the bar. So she had a purse. So I was like, maybe you put it in your purse. Maybe I put it in your purse. So we checked the purse and it wasn't there. So I'm like, okay, it's not in the car. It's not in your purse. So the person who stole my phone is in a car around me, like behind me, next to me, blah, blah. So we look to the right and my cousin's car is right next to us. So she just looks at me and I'm looking at her. Like, tears are still on my face and I'm just looking at her like, ooh. So he gets in the parking lot. She told me to park next to him so we can see if it reconnects, because of course it disconnected when he started driving. I wasn't really matched up with him. He was kind of driving ahead of me, so it disconnected because we weren't side by side. So I parked right next to him again, and lo and behold, my phone connected, my Bluetooth connected. So yeah, it was in his car the whole time. And so when we got out the car, I was like, hey, my phone's in your car. And he literally looked for 3 seconds. And mind you, he was more lit than I was. He looked in the car for 3 seconds and he found it. He was like, is this your phone? And I'm like, yeah, it's my phone. He was like, oh, I couldn't tell because you didn't find it when you looked for it. So, you know, and then we went on our merry way, and that was that. They wouldn't let it down. They wouldn't let it down. Like me being dramatic. My cousins always say that I'm bougie and like I'm a drama queen. And maybe I am, and you know, phones aren't that necessary to have in your life. Like, it's a privilege. And you know, there's people out here who don't have a phone, let alone an iPhone, or have to share a phone, who are not able to get a phone. So I shouldn't be boohooing. It's not the end of the world, but I was distraught. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that was the first story time. So now we get to the second story time, where my phone was actually taken. I say it was stolen. My mom said it wasn't stolen, but I think it was stolen. It wasn't in my possession, so it was stolen, but really I just lost it. I'm just very careless. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm not a purse person. Like, I don't like purses, so I carry 3 things on me. I carry my car keys with my house key. I carry my keychain with like my cards and my ID, what I use in college, and I carry my phone. I can't keep up with all 3. I don't have enough pockets for that. You know, the front pockets ain't that big. You know, it's only got 2 pockets in my hand. Like, anyway, so this was about like 3 weeks later. So literally the night before, I wrote down all my passwords. So God was like, oh, you're gonna get your phone taken tomorrow. Like, he was prepared. I was prepared, but he was prepared. So I'm with my friends. We went thrifting. So my friend Sydney, I go to school out of state. I live in Ohio. I go to school in Pennsylvania, but since COVID, everything is online. So my mom said I was staying my black ass at the house. She wasn't paying me to live on campus, paying for me to live on campus. So I'm on campus. I have friends, like college friends, still in Pittsburgh. So that's important. So we're going to the thrift store. Everything is fine. We're about to leave, but I'm kind of deciding between these 2 coats that I want. So we're in an aisle, and this is an aisle with like toys and stuff. So I prop my phone up, like I'm doing a recording, or it's on my camera, and I prop my phone up so I can try on the coat to see if I want it, because at this particular thrift store, we weren't allowed to try on things. I'm recording myself trying on this coat. And me, I'm a very singular person. I'm a linear person. I'm a linear thinker. Once I have my mindset on something, that's all I'm thinking about. So I'm thinking about this coat. I didn't like the coat. The coat was ugly. So I was taking off the coat and I was putting it back on the rack. So I completely left my phone. This is where my mom said that I didn't get my phone stolen. Somebody found it and they took it. I'm like, that's stealing. I don't know what you think that is. Like, yes, I was careless because I left it in the propped up, but somebody made a conscious decision to take it and leave. So that's stealing, but she argues it. Anyways, so, and even when I put the coat back on the rack, it didn't register, oh, Liana, you left your phone on the shelf. I went in line. I was ready to go. I was ready to get my stuff. So I'm in line And then I look for my phone, and it's not there. And I'm like, oh, part 2. Yay, I love this. So I was like, it's not in the car. So I'm thinking maybe I put it in the coat that I just tried on. So I went on the rack, checked the pockets, not in the coat, not in my cart, not in my pants, not in my jacket. I'm like, damn, Liana, you really left it this time. You really lost it. This is it. This is it for you. So the trauma kicked in from the last story, 2 weeks prior, 3 weeks prior. So I'm starting to freak out. So I'm like, guys, I don't know where my phone is. And then I remember that where I last had it, which was on the aisle. It wasn't there. Sis, she wasn't there. She wasn't there. So neither Sydney or Sabrina had my location. But my friends from Pittsburgh does. Particularly my friend Abby. She has my location. By the way, you should always share location with your friends. Like, especially in college, like, you never know. People are crazy. Dudes are crazy. Like, not just specifically dudes, but dudes. So I would always share my location. But anyways, so my friends Sydney and Sabrina didn't have my location. Luckily, Sydney and Abby were friends on Instagram. So Sydney DM'd Abby and was like, hey, can you track Liana's phone, like find it? So Abby texted my phone to find my location. So she found my location, and say we're on Lincoln Road, at a specific address on Lincoln Road. Abby DM'd Sydney back and was like, yeah, it's on so-and-so Lincoln Road. So it was down the street. So I'm thinking, okay, somebody actually took it. Like, they have it and they're like driving down the street. So we're freaking out. We leave our stuff and we're speed racing. We're trying to find it. So Abby keeps updating us and it's still in the same place. So it tracks us down the street to a Mark's. I don't know if you guys have Mark's where you're from, but Mark's is basically a grocery store. So it's a big plaza, but we trace it specifically to Mark's. So I'm distraught. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, somebody really stole it this time. So I'm distraught, more distraught than I was the first time. And because I can actually see it moving, I can actually see it drifting away from me, you know. So we get into Mark's. I didn't know what they were gonna do. Like, I was like, you need to stop everything. You need to lock it down. Like, somebody has my stuff. So so I'm like, do you recognize any of these people, like, here? Do you recognize any of them? They're like, no, I don't really recognize anybody who was at the thrift store who could have took it. So the lady, she was like, yeah, there's nothing we can do. We can't really, like, stop anybody or search anyone. So I would recommend you call the police, like the local police, not 911, but our local unit. Anyways, so yeah, so I'm like, ooh, I remember I had a flashback. And I remember the night prior, I wrote down all my passwords, like because I was changing all of my passwords and my username. So I wrote it all down. So I have my Apple ID. Still didn't memorize it, but I had it written down. It wasn't in my phone. Baby steps. So I call my mom. My mom is at work. She works at home because of COVID and stuff. So she's at work, but she's like working, but she's at home. So I'm calling my mom, calling her, texting her. And then I remember that my mother, my beautiful, beautiful mom, she has this thing on her phone where restricted calls go straight to voicemail. They don't even ring. And numbers that are not saved in her contacts don't ring at all. So neither Sabrina or Sid's phone numbers are in my mom's phone. So every time I would call, it wouldn't even ring on her end. So it would go straight to voicemail. And every time I texted her, it was like, Mom, this is me. This is Liana. It won't go through. It would send me this message like, this message will not be sent. I don't need you to send me a message. I need my message to go through. That's what I need. I don't need you to tell me what I already know. It's not going through. So I'm pissed about that because my mom, I wanted her to come upstairs, look on my bed and tell me my password so I can find my iPhone to see if it gave me a more distinct location of like who it was on. So I'm freaking out. Abby, she still says that it's still in the same place. So I speed race all the way back to my house. And Sabrina's following me. I'm in the car with Sid because she's the one who's contacted with Abby. So she hops in my car. Sabrina's following. I was going real, like, Dom who? Fast Furious who? All they knew was Liana and a Honda Civic because that's all they saw, like, swerving past me because I had to go. So I parked in my parking lot. I mean, not in my parking lot. I parked in my driveway. I ran through my house. I ran upstairs, grabbed my stuff. I'm crying. I'm so upset. Like, My mom was like, what the fuck is going on? And I explained to her, I'm like, you wouldn't answer your phone, and I'm distraught and somebody stole my phone, and da-da-da. So I get it. I'm sitting here trying to get in a password. It's pouring down raining. So, and of course, I wrote my passwords and stuff in red ink. Red marker. So it was smudging everywhere. I'm just like, so we get to find my iPhone. It tracks. It's in the same place. It's still at Marks. I'm like, they're really shopping. I'm surprised that they're paying for their groceries because they sure as hell didn't pay for my phone. So I speed race back to Marks, and Sabrina, she stopped. She had to go get gas. So it's Sydney and I. So my thing was, if the phone is still on, my Bluetooth is on. So, you know, I knew that handy from the last video that if I'm near my phone, my Bluetooth will connect. So I'm driving through the parking lot. I'm creeping through the parking lot. People who were watching me probably thought I was a creep because I circled the parking lot, the plaza, like at least 85 times, and I didn't care because I was thinking, okay, if they left my phone in their car, if I go down an aisle of cars and my phone connects, then it's in this aisle, or I'll drive around. If it disconnects when I leave this aisle, then that means it's in this aisle. So I drove around. It would connect once I got to the front of the store. So I'm like, okay, either it's a car in these front rows, like in the front, or someone's shopping. I noticed that it was this man, like staring into my soul. Like, my windows aren't tinted, so he could see me clear. I can see him clear. Even if my windows were tinted, I could still see you, but he could see me. He saw my soul. He saw it. I think he had a conversation with my soul because that's how bad he was staring at me. And I'm like, do you recognize me? Because I don't recognize you. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, do you recognize me? Because I don't recognize you. So he's walking back and forth. So he's in the front of the plaza on foot asking people for money. I believe the term is panhandling. I don't know for sure. I think that's what it's called. But he was asking for money, hence why I thought he was homeless. Because, I mean, not everybody who's homeless are out asking for money, but that's where the assumption came in. But like I said, I'm not going to say he's homeless. That's why I said possible, because, you know, can't assume, can't judge. So, but he was asking for money. He was just standing there, and as people were coming in to shop, he would like ask for money. So he was panhandling, and he was walking, pacing back and forth the like the sidewalk, not the sidewalk, the awning, the entrance. We're gonna say entrance. He wasn't in the store, he was in the entrance. So he was going back and forth. I was never stationary, so I couldn't really determine if he was near me, it connected, and if he left, that it would disconnect, saying that it was him. So I'm still circling, and I'm just like, F it. I'm just gonna stand. I'm just gonna sit here. Like, so I parked. I have my hazards on, so I'm like, y'all can move around because I'm not about to keep circling because I'm not about to hit somebody because I keep circling and like I'm distracted. So I'm just gonna stay here, and I'm gonna let. And I'm thinking it's this man, and Sydney was like, no, I don't think it's him. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's him. Like, I just have a gut feeling. Like, we connected on a cellular level. That's not a word, but soul to soul, because he was staring into my soul, talking to my soul. He made love to my soul. That's how hard he was staring. I can feel it. Like, I feel a connection. I feel like he took my phone. So, I stand here. Like, I'm sitting in the car. It's pouring down raining. He's still like walking back and forth. Every time he came close to my car, my phone connected. Every time he left, it disconnected. I'm like, Sydney is him. Sydney is him. Let's go. Let's go. I'm trying to get out the car. I'm like thinking of how I can approach this man. But Sydney was like, no, because if he's crazy, I don't got time. Like, we don't got time. Like, you can't just walk up on somebody and And I kind of had a feeling it was him because when she was calling, he answered, but he didn't really say anything and hung up. I'm like, okay, if this was like a thief, like if I was a phone thief, but stole phones, the first thing I'm doing is shutting off the phone. That's the first thing I'm doing because I don't want anybody to track me. I hope if someone is about to steal your phone, I hope they don't do that. Like, I hope they're not watching this video and just got that advice to turn off the phone, but I hope that they don't do that. But if that was me, I would turn off the phone. He didn't turn off the phone. I don't think he knew how to use said phone because I don't even think he meant to answer the phone. And once you see the clips, he was taking pictures and videos of himself without even knowing. Because like I said, when he took the phone, my phone was on the camera, so he must have hit record. But anyway, that's besides the point. We'll get to that later. So I was like, yeah. She was like, I don't know if he's crazy. Like, I just want to wait till the police come. So she calls them again, like not 911, like I said, just the local ones, and like trying to get an update because we wanted a way to approach him. But even if we had, the officers, like, they didn't have probable cause. Like, I can't say, I think this man took my phone. Then I'm like, oh, that's probable cause enough. So I'm going to go search this man, like strip search him. So I don't even know what they were going to do. And plus, I don't really rock with them anyways. But anyways, I'd rather do it myself. So I'm thinking in this grand scheme, and I'm like looking at my car and I find some money. I'm like, maybe I'll like go up to him and like offer him some money and be like, hey, can I borrow your phone in a pandemic? But you know, you gotta shoot your shot. You gotta shoot your shot, especially when it comes to your stuff, you know? So Sydney was like, that's a dumb idea. And I'm like, yeah, probably, but you know, I'm desperate because I know this man has my phone. I just don't know how to get it from him, take it from him. Sabrina gets there, she parks, she gets in the back of my car. She gets in my car and we're like, we think it's him. We think it's this man. And she was like, why didn't y'all approach him yet? I'm like, you know, I wanted to do it, but you know, we're just trying to wait. And she was like, I'll do it. And then so Sabrina, she grabbed Sydney's phone because I guess on my iPhone, they have if you hit a button, it alerts you, like it makes a huge noise. So she was gonna walk past him, press the button. If it went off, she was gonna like be like, give me my phone. That's exactly what she did. So we're looking in the rearview mirror. Like, I'm just like I'm looking like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Like, do I have to reverse this so like run him over? Like, what's gonna happen? Because if he hits my sis, I'm gonna have to run him over. Like, no, it just can't happen like that. Like, you took my phone and you put your hands on my friend. You crossed the line. So I'm gonna have to reverse this and like hit you. So I'm looking in the rearview mirror. She's looking in the side mirror. Like, we're trying to see what's going on. So I guess she did it, and he just gave him the phone. He just gave her the phone. Like, it went off in his pocket, and she just gave her the phone. And he just gave her the phone. And then he was like, well, I found it. Well, this is what she told us. She said that he said, well, I found the phone. And she was just like, have a good day. And then just walked back in my car. And I grabbed it, and I was like, oh my gosh. You're so great. Thank you so much. Like, it was a whole lot. It was too much. It was just like, I found it. I'm like, you know what, sir? You're right. You're correct. So we went back to the thrift store. Our stuff was still in the aisle. And then we bought our stuff. So I still spent money. This should have been less than just take my butt home. But I still found a way in a tragedy such as this. High-speed chase, race against the clock to find my phone. I still found a way to blow a bag in the thrift store. But yeah, those are my two stories of when I thought my phone was taken and when it was actually stolen by a possible homeless man. So I hope you enjoyed these stories. Let me know if someone ever stole your phone. Or stole anything of yours and you found a way to get it back, or if you knew who did it. Like I said, phones aren't that important. In no way am I trying to sound like it's the end of the world, because there's way more important things that's happening to other people in this world. But that was just my story, and I thought it would be a fun first video. I didn't really know what to do, so I figured I'd tell you guys this one. So make sure. Well, you don't even have to like, comment, subscribe, honestly. I don't know. Like, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do what you want, sis. Do what you want. But I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye. Hi, guys. I forgot to add the clips, so here they are.